What is good, comic fam? Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Comic Tom, and this is your top 10 hot comics list. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We make a ton of comic book themed content throughout the week. And I'm sitting here today with my buddy who's in Chicago, the 58th most influential person in the comic book industry according to Bleeding Cool's top 100 list. Nick from Key Collector Comics, how you doing?
Oh, Tom, come on. You know what? You're embarrassing me, but I'll take that.
How you doing throughout this quarantine?
Quarantine is, I read somewhere, it's like being in prison, except in prison from the Goodfellas, where you could still make pasta. So it's going all right.
So many comic books spiked this week. I'm excited to tell you about number 10 on the list. But before we do, I want to let everybody know about my ComicTom exclusive in May, courtesy of Scout Comics. We have Long Live Pro Wrestling with the ComicTom variant done by artist Piper. Link in the description to join. May is currently open for enrollment. We got a ton of really cool books that we're sending out, and there's going to be a lucky person getting a New Mutants 98 first appearance of Deadpool graded at 9.8. Nick, what do we got at the list at number 10?
Tom, at number 10, we got Vamps and Wolves number 4. This is a variant that's limited to 100 copies, and it's killing it on eBay. It's up 400% this month over the previous month, and it's all because of the artist.
I saw the title, didn't recognize it, saw it was a number 4, saw the low print, saw the spikes, and then I said to myself, this must be, true story, a Peach Momoko variant. And I was right. Comic fam, this is an artist that when she puts something out, the odds are it's going to be popular, and we can't say that very often in this market. Isn't that right, Nick?
That's right. And this book is going for $235 as a 9.8 graded book. There's only 2 listed right now at the time of this video, and one is for $500 graded 9.8. The other one is ungraded, going for over 2. So
these Kickstarter campaigns, man,
they're bananas. They're like bananas, peaches and bananas, right?
Dude, it's a freaking smoothie out here. I'm looking at Cyberfrog. Ethan Van Sciver is funding crazy amounts right now. Do you see that?
Yeah, over $600,000 on Indiegogo. You have the godfather of funding, which is Brian Pulido, whose recent Lady Death went for over $300,000. And then you have the Toddfather, who just launched a campaign on Kickstarter that's already at $1.5 million and with a lot of time left.
Right now, we're definitely seeing the impact that these Kickstarters have on independent comic books, especially when distribution is down. Let's take a look at the list at number 9.
At number 9 on the list, we have Astonishing Tales, number 25. And boy, do they astonish by introducing Deathlock, who is a soldier that was fatally wounded, and then they used this experimental Deathlock program and brought him back as a cyborg in the far future of 1990. But hey, here we are, 2020. Are we going to get some Deathlocks, Tom? I don't know, but I do know that because this is the first published artwork by George Perez, who is famous for Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinity Gauntlet, this book is on the rise because of CGC signings.
I woke up today to San Diego Comic-Con being shut down. The con season is going to be different going forward, and fortunate enough to see the grading companies already jumping on the opportunity to get these content creators in for private signings so that they can still serve their fans and their community. CGC's already announced Tom King, Chris Claremont, Ryan Stegman, Donnie Cates, Frank Miller. All of the greats are going to be doing private signings this year. So fortunately enough, we can still get comics signed and graded. I'm just curious what this is going to look like going forward.
With George Perez doing the signing, we've seen a 160% increase in this book. This book has a high of $2,000 for a 9.8, and 9.6s, just for reference, they sell for $400. It's crazy.
So many creators doing private signings. Nick, is there any way that the community can organize the keys to maybe get ready?
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Tom, because we've been featuring these artists on Key Collector Comics, the free mobile app, for weeks. We've done Frank Miller, we've done George Perez. So if you're having trouble figuring out what you want to get signed, just look on the app or even search. Do an artist search under categories. You could search artists, writers, variants. There's a lot of other options under the button categories on the main screen.
It'll pull up everything worth your attention as it pertains to key worthiness. And do yourself a favor and support the show by utilizing that code TOM101 for a free 1-week subscription to unlock the full service of Key Collector Comics. Let's take a look at number 8 on this list.
At number 8, we got Dune, number 1. And this week we've seen logo, we've seen pictures from the set. I mean, we're getting now the first taste of Dune, and we like it.
Ooh, Paul Atreides, seeing him for the first time with his gloves, his coat, looking so awesome in this sci-fi world. We also see Duncan, Idaho, Jason Momoa, beardless. It looks great, Comic Fam. I am so stoked about this franchise. And the Comic Fam is aggressively buying this comic book. And on top of all of that, this is a reprint, is it not?
Well, Tom, first came Marvel Super Special number 36, an adaptation of the movie. And then after that came these 3 issues that were a reprint, right?
Coming out the very next year in comic format, which is why people are aggressively buying those ones. Bill S. covers, by the way.
Yeah, Tom, and I'm surprised that this is really resonating with comic buyers because they're buying this issue number 1, which went for $125, graded 9.8. In the set, a PGX 9.2 graded set went for $325. This book has a 1,200% increase.
In just 7 days. It was originally slated to come out in November, now pushed back to December. I'm anxiously awaiting for what's going to be a sci-fi instant classic.
Speaking of classic movies from the 80s, we have Hellraiser coming in at number 7.
Ooh.
Tom, this movie scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Nick, we got a writer and a director attached to this run. We're going to see a franchise revamped. We're going to see Pinhead, who is featured on the cover of this issue only, but still making it his first appearance in comic books.
That's right, Tom. This is the first appearance of Pinhead, which my cousin used to call me. This is a 700% increase in copies sold this week from the news. It's a $180 high on 9.8 graded books. And it's about an average of $10.
This is an awesome run as well because there's actually a bunch of like random keys in this short 20 issue set. Issue number 2 features Pinhead for the first time actually appearing in story, and it's a super affordable book at like $5. But if you look down later on the list at issue 20, the last in the run, that book also goes for around $20. It's worth a good amount of money because by the end of the series, they printed less, but it also contains a Sandman backup story by Neil Gaiman, Sandman goodness worthy of collecting. And issue 17, Nick, we see, because Epic technically was Marvel, the mature imprint, we see Alex Ross's first cover hit the stands.
That's right. Epic was the Marvel. We don't really want to be associated with this book, but we'll put it under the Epic imprint and we'll do whatever the hell we want.
Comment, like the video, and let me know what you are reading during quarantine. It'll enter you to win this copy of Immortal Hulk, issue number 18, signed by the legend Alex Ross himself. And let's take a look at the next number on the list.
Number 6, we got Strange Tales, number 169. It's the first appearance of Brother Voodoo. So this is really spec related, but it has so much potential because we already heard the name. Well, we didn't hear it. We saw it. Daniel Drum in Doctor Strange. Daniel Drum is the brother of Jericho Drum, who is Brother Voodoo.
We're finding out this week, Sam Raimi stepping his foot in the ring again to make superhero movies, now in line to direct Doctor Strange 2.
That's right, which is great. Sam Raimi from the Evil Dead fame. So this book sold this week for a record $4,200 for a 9.8. It's insane. There's not that many on the CGC Census. And when we talk about CG Census, We're talking about the place where you can go and look and see how many comics have been graded at any given grade. And this one, there's only 11, 9.8 that exist in the world, in the multiverse, anywhere.
Let's give some recognition to some members of the community killing it on the hunt. Make sure to be tagging me with your finds over at ComicTom101 on Instagram. Where can they find you, Nick?
Key Collector Comics on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
If you tag us, we may be able to feature you in the show, just like Legion77, who picked up his X-Men Adventures issue #1. We also have Love for Low Grade picking up Sweet Tooth issue #1. And then we also have Funko Hunter 2019 showing off Nick, his Batman 412 graded at 9.2.
Nice pickups, fellas, and thank you for tagging us.
And big ups to Barnhouse Comics, who's showing off his copy of Bone Parish issue #1, making #5 on the list.
Yeah, this week it was announced that Netflix and Boom have created a partnership, a first look deal. So Netflix can go through Boom's IP, intellectual property, and say, you know what, we want that, not that, but we want that. And people are thinking that Bone Parish might be one of those, we want that.
$15 average sales with a high at $75 for a 9.8. Pretty affordable spec happening here. 3,100% increase in copies sold. A story about a drug that's made by the ashes of human bones.
It's crazy what people will put into their body, Tom.
So many properties, Nick, that Boom handles. I'm so pumped to watch the other titles that may get some love and that may be hitting the screen soon.
At #4, we got Redneck #1. Now, Donnie Cates went on to YouTube and he said,
I can't share what it is, but in the Cates household, we are kind of celebrating right now because I sold a piece of entertainment. I sold a show that I can't tell you anything about. I know. I wish I could.
There's some options. It could be Buzzkill, right? Buzzkill is a story about a superhero who gets his powers when he drinks. I know a lot of us think we can do that, but this in the book, he does. I don't think it's that because, the superhero genre is locked up. Then we have Baby Teeth, which would have been a good spec had there not been another movie that was called Baby Teeth that just came out that's doing pretty well. Vampires, Redneck is a good choice. The vampire genre, it's been kind of missing for a while. And this is a good time for a book like this to come to TV.
He went to YouTube and was like, I'm just going to throw this out there. Now, he would never use the word speculation, but that's what he caused, pushing this book up to $15 average sales, high sale at $70, and an increase of copies sold of 383%. And there are variants to this cover A, but they're more or less just renditions of this same cover, which is why I think most in the community are navigating to this cover issue #1.
Yeah, you got the red foil, you got the gold foil, you got the no foil. But Tom, what do we got at #3?
#3, we have more option news. Oh my gosh, so many #1s making the list. Philadelphia issue #1. We've been telling you about this comic book for now a few months, reaching the list first because of the story and how good it was. Then reaching the list because of that Francesco Mattina variant, that like almost Ben T style. Shout out Ben Templesmith. Vampires upside down, looking super dark. There was also a Virgin cover of that. Well, now we're seeing it make the list again. Cover A because of option news.
Philadelphia has an 1,800% increase this week over the prior week. You have a high sale, 9.8 graded for $70, and you can still get this book raw for about $5.
At the list, at #2, we have a book being spec'd on because of that Boom information that dropped that we were just telling you about with Netflix. We have Something is Killing the Children issue #1.
Yeah, James Tynion III.
He's killing it, man.
Yeah, we got a lot of killing going on here, Tom. We don't need you adding in on it. James Tynion created Punchline from Batman. He's the writer on the Batman series. He's got a super successful series with Boom, with Something's Killing the Children. It's about a monster hunter who's saving a town whose children are disappearing. And this is just another one of those boom books that people are speculating on because they are hoping to see some of this hit Netflix.
There are so many comic books that the comic fam needs to be considering right now, fresh for the picking for speculation. And if there was only a good way, they can keep track of all of them.
Well, yeah, you got Key Collector. We are featuring Boom right now, and these aren't the only books that have been optioned. There are other books that have been optioned. So take a refresher on which one those are and check it out on the app.
$30 sales for this Boom title, 300+% increase in copies sold in as little as 7 days. I'm a big fan of the Jenny Frison variant. We've talked about the Comic-Con exclusive variant of the same issue. But we also have to pay some recognition, give some kudos to the Joseph Schmalke variant. It was limited to 500 printed. It's going for similar amounts as the Jenny Frison variant. And this was the artist feature in the April Mystery Mail Call last month. Every single member who was part of the April Mystery Mail Call got or is getting a Spawn print by this very talented artist. Link in the description to join the community to begin some dope stuff by members in the comic book community.
Moving on to number one.
Number one on the list. Slap that like button, comic fam. We need your support now more than ever. And I'm going to know if you didn't do it. Let's tell them about number one on the list because I am so psyched, man. Because I feel it coming back, man. We are going to get Constantine on the screen, whether the world wants him or not. And I am so stoked about it. J.J. Abrams is going to do it. And we have JLA Dark issue number one at number one.
We need a comics accurate John Constantine. That's what we need. And hey, how great would it be to see Deadman, Zatanna? I mean, I think we've been waiting long enough for Zatanna. And maybe, just maybe, Bad Robot, which is J.J. Abrams, is going to come in because we know HBO Max, the streaming service, has ordered a 1-hour drama of Justice League Dark.
We got another month left till HBO Max is available to the community, and we're seeing average sales right now of Justice League Dark issue number one. New 52 goodness from 2011 hitting average sales of $30, 120 at 9.8. That's an increase of copies sold of 783% in 7 short days.
Tom, I think you're going to see over the next few weeks and months until we see the show that these books are going to be popping. You got Madame Xanadu. You got characters like the Nightmare Nurse, who's like the night nurse, but the Nightmare Nurse. Whatever. It's going to be fun to speculate on this stuff. And you know what, Tom? People, they like to have fun. They want to have fun.
We like to have fun here, Nick. And Comic Fam, if you want to have fun too, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And if you slap the like and comment down below, let me know what you thought of the list. Did you have anything on it? It'll enter you to win this copy of Immortal Hulk 18 signed by the legend Alex Ross himself. I also have 2 different trades, Supergirl Way of the World, as well as Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1, coming from the PC. Everyone needs to read these because they're awesome. Comic Fam, we love ya. We'll see you next week. And as always,
you got to geek responsibly.
Enough said. Comic Fam, thank you so much for taking your time to watch our video that we made for you. If you want to watch more content, you can click right here and check out our most recent podcast. We'll put another video down here for you that's about some other fun stuff that's very likely about expensive paper. But odds are that's what it is.